I'm Jim Skiff. I've been volunteering as a docent here at the museum for the last 10 years and standing in front of an F-100 Supersabre, a North American product that was the first airplane to achieve supersonic flight in level flight. First of a century series of airplanes that evolved into the late 50s, early 60s. Most of the fighter capability for the Air Force, Navy, and Marines. And significant because it broke the sound barrier. They eventually built airplanes that were Mach 2 airplanes. This was Mach 1.3. But it was a big step forward in jet capability. Gave the Air Force a great capability during the height of the Cold War for deterrence. Well, this was basically being operational in '55. This is an A model. They upgraded it to later models that were fighter bombers. This was an interceptor. It was overcome by platforms that had radar capability. This didn't. So it was, this particular airplane as an A model was carried heat-seeking missiles and four 20 millimeter guns internally. And that was their armament to stop a bomber or a fighter from attacking the Western Europe or the United States or our allies in the Pacific. This is an A model. It was in the first iteration of F-100s at the Connecticut Air National Guard. One of the first units to get the F-100, which was basically a modern fighter in the early 60s, was the Connecticut Air National Guard. And they flew these airplanes from 62, I think, to around 67. And then they went to the 102, and then we went back to the 100. So they were one of the first units to get the 100 as an air defense platform, like I said, in the early 60s. And we were one of the last to fly it in the Air Force, the Guard being part of the Air Force at the time, in 1979. And we were one of the last 4 units to have the 100. Well, this is the first weapon systems that I was assigned to coming out of pilot training. At the time, it was probably pretty much get to the point of the height of the Vietnam War in terms of TET was yet to come, but our assumption was when we got assigned this airplane, we'd be going to Vietnam. As it worked out, the pilot force in Europe had been depleted to the point that they sent all the younger pilots, myself being young at that point, to Europe. So my first assignment in the 100 was over to Europe. And in Europe, we sat arrayed as a deterrent force, and we actually strapped a nuclear bomb to these fighters and sat alert. Obviously never launched. And then came back to the 100 after Vietnam because I got out of the active duty and into the Guard, which was flying the 100 now, and got back into the F-100 in the Connecticut Air National Guard. Well, that became my career because I was just a part-time weekend pilot to start with, but I got a full-time instructor's job within a year and a half. So I gave up on going to the airlines and decided just to stay with fighters and in the Guard. Well, I think it's education. I try to get them interested in aviation.